Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today, me and my group 10, are going to do a presentation under the topic Algae, Fungi and Bacteria as Food. Now, I'm presenting to you our group members. There is me, Muhammad Arif Akabi Zaidin, Alia Shabina binti Muhammad Sufyan, Muhammad Zulfazli bin Ahmad Fauzi. We also got Muhammad Alif Muhammad bin Mahasan, Nur Emilia Anis binti Muhammad Tajuddin, and lastly, Nur Kristina Abiana binti Abdul Rashid. Now, this is the table of contents that we are going to share with you guys in our presentation today. We are going to start our presentation with our first content, which is bacteria as food. First, what is actually bacteria? Bacteria plays an essential role in recycling nutrients, for example, fixing nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. The human body contains vast numbers of bacteria, most of which are harmless or rendered by the immune system, and some are vital in many processes such as digestion. Commonly used in the production of a variety of dairy products, bacteria are also used to make a wide range of food products. The most important bacteria in food manufacturing are Lactobacillus species, also referred in as lactic bacteria. The application of lactic acid bacteria can be divided into four categories. The first one is lactic acid bacteria as starter cultures for fermented foods. In this category, starter cultures is used in food belong to the dairy food product, for example cheese, yogurt, and fermented milks. It is also used in fermented meat products such as fish products, pickled vegetables, and olive oil, and also a variety of cereal. The status cultures depends on best adapted strains dominance. The second category is lactic acid bacteria as adjunct cultures. It was added at some point of the manufacture of fermented products. It doesn't have role in acid production unlike starter cultures. It balanced some biodiversity that was removed in pasteurization. It also improved hygiene and it gives flavor and accelerate the maturation process. The third application is as bioprotective cultures. Bioprotective cultures produce bacteriocins that lead to cell death by inhibiting food pathogens. It is used in processed cheese, dairy products, and canned food. Lastly, it also has the ability to reduce fungal mycotoxins either by producing anti-mycotoxinogenic metabolites or by absorbing them. And the fourth application is lactic acid bacteria as a probiotic cultures. So probiotics are microbial cell preparations or components of microbial cells that have a beneficial effect on the health and well-being of the host. It ferments various substrates such as biogenic amines and allergenic compounds into short-chain fatty acids and other organic acid and gases.
I will tell about the bacteria in cheese making. In cheese, they will use two bacteria culture, which is the starter culture and adjunct culture. Starter culture are used early in the cheese making process to assist with coagulation by lowering the pH prior to running addition. The metabolism of starter culture contribute desirable flavor compound and help prevent the growth of spoilage organisms. For example, typical starter culture is Lactococcus lactis, Streptococcus thermophilus, and Lactobacillus bulgaricus. For agriculture, are used to provide or enhance the characteristic flavor and texture of cheese. Common agriculture are added during manufacture, for example, Lactobacillus casei and Lactobacillus plantarum for flavor and cheddar cheese. Both of these cultures are added to the milk and held at 90 Fahrenheit for 30 minutes in the ripening stage. Next, I will tell about the bacteria in modern yogurt making. The two bacteria used in yogurt production are Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. These organisms help each other grow until they reach a stable balance. As thermophilus grows better than L. bulgaricus in milk, so L. bulgaricus will break some of the protein in milk down into amino acids to make it easier for S. thermophilus to collect the nutrient it needs to keep on growing. This process creates conditions that allow L. bulgaricus to kick off its metabolism and also start to grow. As both organisms grow, the milk becomes acidic and coagulate the protein which is casein. It will change the consistency of the milk to form a thicker substance. Once milk has turned into yogurt and desired flavor and texture achieved, we need to stop the yogurt fermentation process because both bacterial strains consume the lactose and transform it into lactic acid. It can be stopped by keeping the yogurt in lower temperature. Next, I will talk about the bacteria in food microbiology. Bacteria in food microbiology are a safety concern and economic concerns. For safety concern, bacteria is an infectious pathogen and toxin producer. For economic concerns, its metabolic activity may enhance the economic value of foods or negatively impact it by altering sensory qualities or natural contents. So, to ensure the safety of food and economic production and distribution, there are two ways, which is the genomic analysis method and culture-based methods. Genomic analysis method are excel at identifying bacteria and establishing the returns of isolate, while for culture-based methods, it is necessary for detection and enumeration to determine viability and to validate phenotype predictions. So as we can see the picture in the slides, the bacteria of interest are divided into infectious agent, cause of foodborne infection, spoilage, and potential aids. All of these divisions depends on the metabolic activity of each bacterium.
Next, we will talk about fungi. Fungi are often considered to be plant-based, but their cells are composed of beta-glucan and chitin rather than cellulose, and the absence of chloroplast makes them distinctly different from plants, thus placing them out of this category. They can be an ideal food because they have a fairly high content of protein, typically 20 to 30% dry matter as crude protein, which contains all of the essential amino acids and also a source of dietary fiber. One of the fungal-based food is mycoprotein that has a possibility to replace meat protein. Mycoprotein is a protein made from Physaurinatum, a type of fungus that naturally occurs in the soil. For your information, mushroom and truffles are also a type of fungi, basidiomycetes, but are generally not considered to be suitable meat alternative due to their lower protein content. Mycoprotein is produced from separate member of the fungi family, which is Ascomycetes, and is grown by fermentation. The filamentous nature of the hypal creates fibrous bundles that emulate the texture of meat. Recent studies suggest that this structural complexity of the fungal cell wall may provide insights into causal mechanisms for putative benefits to metabolic health. To create mycoprotein, manufacturers ferment fungi spores along with glucose and other nutrients. The fermentation process is similar to what's used to create beer. It results in doughy mixture with a meat-like texture that high in protein and fiber. According to a latest review trusted source published in Current Developments in Nutrition, mycoprotein is a nutritious protein source, high in fiber, rich in essential amino acids that could induce muscle protein synthesis, and also has a meat-like texture. So overall, it is worth to replace meat protein. But the question here, is mycoprotein safe? There's conflicting research regarding the safety of mycoprotein. The table in the slide provides some studies about mycoprotein. The negative research mainly stated that mycoprotein is related to allergic reaction, while some positive research discovered that many organizations approve the use of mycoprotein and it is believed to be safe.
The other type of fungi that always being used in food production is yeast. Yeast is a type of unicellular fungi where it always being used in the food that need to undergo fermentation process such as bread making. In bread making, yeast work as a leavening agent in order to leaven the dough so that the texture of the bread will become more fluffy and soft after the baking process. The ability of yeast that can undergo anaerobic respiration make it become so important in the bread making process. So, what are the process occur when yeast is added into the dough? During the mixing dough process, yeast is added into the dough and mixed together. After some kneading process, the dough is left aside in a closed container for a while so that the dough can be leavened. And during this period, yeast take part to enable the leavening process. In the early stages, yeast will use sugar and oxygen to undergo respiration, producing carbon dioxide and water. And this type of respiration is being called as aerobic respiration. After some period of time, oxygen supply in the dough is decreased and become limited, so it will forcing the yeast to undergo anaerobic respiration in order to ensure that it can survive. In anaerobic respiration, yeast can only undergo partial respiration where glucose is being used and the end product produced are ethanol and carbon dioxide. So, this carbon dioxide actually help a lot in the leavening of the bread by creating pores in the bread after the baking process so that the bread we eat today is fluffy. Besides, yeast also being used in the production of wine. In Western countries, yeast are massively being used in the production of wine as majority of their citizens love to drink that kind of beverages. The role of yeast in wine production is to produce the alcohol through anaerobic respiration. Same as bread production, yeast will be added into the crushed grape before the grape juice being fermented in the sealed container. During fermentation process, yeast will transform the sugar in the grape juice into the alcohol and carbon dioxide as the result of anaerobic respiration, and this occurs due to the lack of oxygen presence in the sealed container. In the wine production, duration of fermentation and the temperature used during the fermentation process thought to be really important in determining the taste of wine. Although wine is prohibited in Islam, it is still okay for us to know the process of wine production that related to the yeast function.
Next, we move on to algae that are edible. These are some foods that come from algae. For the first algae is Porphyra species. Specifically, it belongs to red algae phylum of lever species, comprising approximately 70 species. In East Asia, it is used to produce the sea vegetable products which has named nori in Japan and gim in Korea. Most Porphyra species have a high content of digestible protein, which is 20 to 25% of weight, and contain many free amino acids, especially in glutamic acid, glycine, and alanine, which are responsible for its specific taste. Its vitamin C content is similar to that of lemons, while it is also rich in the vitamin B. Porphyra is an excellent source of iodine and other trace elements. Polypa is a genus of seaweed in the family Colopaceae. They are unusual because they consist of only one cell with many nuclei, making them among the biggest single cells in the world. The most commonly eaten are Colopa lentilifera, also called sea grapes or grape hevea in English. It is traditionally harvested in the wild and sold in local markets in Southeast Asia, Oceania, and East Asia. They are eaten raw in salads and have a characteristic sea flavor and a crunchy texture. It contains omega-3, calcium, potassium, vitamin C, vitamin A, and also rich in iodine. Next is Alva. Alva lactica, also known by the common name sea lettuce. It is a type species of the genus Alva. Its synonym is Euphenestrata, referring to its windowed or holed appearance. Green to dark green in color, this species in the chlorophyta is formed of two layers of cell irregularly arranged, as seen in the cross section. Many species of sea lettuce are a food source for humans in Scandinavia, Great Britain, Ireland, China, and Japan, where this food is known as awasa. Sea lettuce as a food for human is eaten raw in salads and cooked in soups. It is high in protein, soluble dietary fiber, and a variety of vitamins and minerals, especially iron. However, contamination with toxic heavy metal at certain sites where it can be collected make it dangerous for human consumption.
Next is algae in production of other food. First is carrageenan. Carrageenan is a thickener, emulsifier, and preservative used to thicken, emulsify, and preserve foods and beverages. It's a natural component derived from red seaweed, which is also called Irish moss. This component is commonly found in milk, meat products, and yogurt. Carrageenan, unlike gelatin, which is made from animal sources, is suitable for vegans. So, how does carrageenan is made from algae? Alcohol precipitation has declined in recent years, and the gel press or potassium chloride precipitation method is one of the techniques that has taken its place. Firstly, sand, salts, and other foreign substances are rinsed out of the seaweed. It is then boiled for several hours in water containing an alkali, such as sodium hydroxide. Alkali is utilized because it induces a chemical shift in the final product that increases the gel strength. Euchema cottoni has high amount of kappa carrageenan, which may be refined by filtration and then precipitated with potassium chloride to create a huge jelly-like mass that can be pressed to remove water. Following that, the pressed cake can be dried and ground as usual. This method has the significant advantage of producing a refined product without the additional cost of alcohol recovery. The enormous Asian dessert jelly industry has responded well to this method. Other than carrageenan, algae is also turned into algae oil, which acts as a supplement with many benefits like fish oil, which contains omega-3 fatty acid. Two common omega-3 fatty acids are eicosapentaenoic acid (EPA) and docosahexaenoic acid (DHA). Cold water fish oils have long been used as a source of omega-3 fatty acids. However, if the demand for these fish products continues to rise, mass-scale fisheries will become unsustainable. Currently, the most frequent algae used for DHA production are members of the Trostocheitriaceae and Cryptocodinaceae families of marine algae.
For the reflection part, microbiology is important to food safety, production, processing, preservation, and storage. Microbes such as bacteria, algae, and fungi are employed to produce food and food ingredients. As a student that study in food microbiology, we think that it is important to be aware in the production of food using this microbe, thus follow the step and precaution correctly so that the microbial contamination of food cannot occur at any point in the food production that eventually can give a serious effect such as pneumonia and poisoning. We hope that the microorganism in food will not only be seen in the dark side, but also be seen in the bright side of it. That's all from us. Thank you.